Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Diane and the Book Hunt. Today I'm going to be doing the very popular mid-year freakout tag where I'm going to be talking about what books I really loved in the first 6 months of the year, which were surprises or disappointments. There's basically a list which I'm going to link down below, list with questions which I'm going to answer. And to be very honest with you, I'm just going to try to wing it. I'm going to try to answer all of the questions in one go because it's just about 10 to 12 questions or so. And I think I have a couple of the answers already planned. I took a look at what questions were asked, so I kind of have the answers to most of them. The other ones I'm just going to improvise. So let's just try to do it in one go. The first question is one of the more difficult ones, the best book that you've read so far in 2022. I didn't have too many 5-star reads, to be very honest. Um, I think I made like a statistic. Let me just go back to that one so I can give you a bit of an overview. Today is the 18th of June, and by today's date, I've read two 2-star reads, 21 3-star reads, 50 4-star reads, and only 13 5-star reads. Out of those 13, we have one reread. So about 12 new 5-star reads that I had this year, which is not too many, to be honest. I typically have more of those, I think, by the middle of the year, so by June. But anyway, out of those 12, I think that my favorite would be 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I think that that book I read in the first week or the second week of January, and it still left a very big impact on me. I still remember it very vividly, and I actually want to reread it already because it was such an amazing book. I think it will end up in my top 3, if not at the very top by the end of the year, if I don't find something else that strikes my fancy more than it. But that book was absolutely superb in my opinion. And I've talked about it before in a couple of videos. I'll probably link them down below so you can check out my full opinion on the book. But it's just such an amazing romance where we have a second chance romance. We have two very developed characters with their own respective struggles who met up as kids and had a very strong bond and connection with each other, who for some circumstances were ripped apart, and then many years later they meet up and they kind of try to work things out and what happened and whether they still have chemistry and feelings for each other. I absolutely love that book, and it's, like I mentioned, going to probably end up in my top 3 of the year. The second book that, or actually the second question that we have is the best sequel you've read so far in 2022. Now, this year I did pick up a couple of series, and I typically binge series. I don't like picking up the first book within a series and then leave off to continue with the series at some other time, because I will tend to forget a lot of the details from the first book, and then I feel like I need to reread it, and I don't like rereading too much, so I typically binge series. So I looked at what series I had finished, and I think that the best one that I read is the Raybearer series by Jordan Ifueko. Raybearer is the first book, and then the second book is called The Redemptor. And actually, I think that The Redemptor as a book is even better than the first one. It was a very interesting read, very centered around Western African culture, if I remember correctly. We have a bit of a magical realism, a bit of fantasy, a bit of fairy tale-like qualities within the story, and I absolutely loved it. I don't think I can do it justice in terms of summarizing it, but you can go ahead and check it out on Goodreads. I think it has a very, very high rating as well. So if you're interested in a more interesting take on a Western African cultural aspect within a story, within a plot. And it's a young adult story, so bear that in mind, young adult fantasy story. So check it out if you're interested in that. Next question is new release you haven't read yet but want to. Now, there is a new release which just came out in June, and I'm definitely going to be picking that one up. It's called You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. That book has also an absolutely gorgeous cover. I'm going to link it up somewhere, wherever possible, so you can see it. And I think that Jack Edwards talked about it, that he is very keen on reading that book, and I just saw it popping up in my audio library as a new release, so I'm definitely going to be picking that one up. Now, the next question is most anticipated release for the second half of 2022. I have a couple of them. Obviously, everyone who has followed my channel knows that I absolutely love The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. And in August, I think by the end of August, the second book within that STEM world will come out, which is called Love on the Brain. I can't wait for it. I have it on pre-order. I'm going to pick it up once it releases right away. The second book that I'm really interested in is by Taylor Jenkins Reid. You'll have a new release at the end of August as well. It's called Carrie Soto is Back, and I think it centers around a tennis legend, a fictional tennis legend, and I really want to read that one as well. And then in October, we'll have the new release by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is going to be the second book within the Flesh and Fire series. I think it's called A Light in the Flame. That one I'm going to be picking up right away once it releases as well, because I'm too deep into the Blood and Ash series, so I really need to continue on with the prequel. So I really can't wait for that one as well. Now, the next question is the biggest disappointment. I'm going to have to say that it's going to be Four Aunties and a Wedding by Jessie Q. Sutanto, because the previous book that I read by this author, and actually the previous book within the installment, Dial A for Aunties, was one of my top 10 reads of 2021. So I was really looking forward to the sequel, and it just didn't hit in the same way as the first one, probably because I felt like it was too similar to the first one. So unfortunately, it was a bit of a disappointment. I don't think that it's a bad book per se. I did give it 3 stars, 3 or 3.5 stars. But yeah, I just wanted more out of it, and I was really looking forward to it. So unfortunately, it was a disappointment. Next one up is the biggest surprise. Now, here I'm going to go with books which are not the best literary books that I've picked up, but books that I didn't quite anticipate reading, and was really surprised by how much I love them, how much I enjoyed them, and how I flew through them. I hadn't had a chance to pick up any reverse harem books before this year. So when I dipped my toe into that genre, I picked up a book which I didn't necessarily like. So I was like, I don't know if this is going to be for me. So I'm going to give it another go. 1 or 2 books to see whether it's something for me, and if it's not, then I'm just going to leave it. But then I picked up a book which is called Ariel by Manuela Ruguet, I think her name is. And this is a reverse harem with an actual plot, and I absolutely loved it. It centers around a heroine who is in the circus world. She's going to a circus academy, and she's moving to Canada, where she has a couple of guy roommates, and she has a reverse harem situation with all of them, but she actually also is in an open relationship with her boyfriend back in France, and at some point he joins the whole situation with them, and I absolutely love that book. It was just amazing, and there is a sequel which I'm going to pick up as well, which is called Stellar, I believe, and I loved it. It doesn't have too many reads yet, I think, on Goodreads and reviews, so if you haven't picked it up yet, check it out, because it's definitely worth your time. And then the second one is also a reverse harem, which I just recently finished. It's called Four Psychos, and it's actually like a short novel. I think it's about 200 pages or so, and there's 4 books within the installment following 1 girl and 3 guys. No, 4 guys. Is it 4 guys? We have 4 guys, I'm sorry. And that one, it surprised me because it was just so funny. It's not just having a reverse harem situation where we have the hot and steamy scenes. We really actually have a lot of fun banter. The main character, the heroine, is an absolute treasure in my opinion because she has an amazing personality. So that one really surprised me too, to be honest. So I absolutely loved it. Next question up is new favorite author. I'm going to go with two of them. We have Jennifer Hartman. I read Still Beating in February and I absolutely loved it. And I have just purchased Lotus by the same author, which I'm going to pick up very soon. And I've heard only good things about all of her works. So she is definitely a new favorite author of mine. The second one is Lauren Asher because I read the fine print and I just purchased Terms and Conditions as well, which I'm going to pick up very soon. And I absolutely love both of the books that I just mentioned. And I really hope that when I continue on with their backlist, I'm going to be just as surprised and as, yeah, that I'm going to find as much enjoyment out of the other books as well. Now, the newest fictional crush that I have, I don't have many crushes to be very honest because I don't, like I do swoon when we have a very amazing type of character, but I move on to new books so many, it's such a fast pace that I kind of replace them all the time. But if I really think about memorable characters, male characters that really grab my heart, I think about Shane from 7 Days in June. And I also think about Nyktos from the Flesh and Fire series, so the prequel to the Blood and Ash series. I loved him. I mean, he is such an amazing godlike creature and he has such an amazing relationship with Serafina. I really love both of those characters. They're my new fictional crushes, if I can put it like that. Newest favorite character. If we talk about a woman, I'm going to say Zara from The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. She is such an amazing character. I absolutely adored her. She is feisty, she can hold her own, she is vulnerable, but she's also beautiful and amazing and has a sense of humor. I absolutely loved her. As a male, I'm going to go with the dragon within the Light and Fire, no, not Light and Fire, Shadow and Bone. Shadow and Bone, I'm so bad at this. A Shadow in the Ember by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I'm going to go with Reaver. He's amazing. Also in The War of Two Queens, he has such a dry sense of humor. He's so sarcastic and amazing and gives such an amazing kind of twist and sprinkle within the book that makes it just even more amazing than it already is. So I'm going to go with Reaver. Now, a book that made you cry. I'm going to go with Crying in H Mart. This is a nonfiction book that I picked up and I didn't expect to cry when I read it, even though the title says that it's Crying in H Mart. But it just touched me, the topic of the book, where the main character needs to deal with grief, with losing her mother. It just really affected me when I read it. It was a difficult read for me. It really, I felt heavy in my heart when I read about how the main character was dealing with the grief. It just really left an impact on me, so I really did cry with that book. And then a book that made me happy is The Worst Best Men by Mia Sosa. This is if we speak about a book that left me feeling very happy and joyous, and I had really laugh out loud moments with it. I absolutely loved it. But if we really speak about a book which has a very keen sense of humor, which really fits with my personality, and I absolutely laughed out loud at more than just one occasions, I'm going to go with Four Psychos, the one that I mentioned before, the reverse harem book. It just has an amazing style of writing with top-notch sense of humor. So I absolutely love that one. Now, favorite book to movie adaptation. I'm going to say Dune, even though I haven't read the books, I absolutely love the movie. So I really hope that the movie does the book any justice. And I really can't wait for the continuation of it. And then another adaptation that I haven't seen yet because it's yet to be released, but I really look forward to picking it up, or not picking it up, but watching it. It's A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. That's the book. And then we have an adaptation which will come out soon. I just saw the trailer recently, so I really can't wait to pick that one up to see whether the movie will do it any justice. Now, the most beautiful book that I bought this year, if you know me, you know that I don't typically purchase a lot of physical books, so I don't think I'm going to answer that question in all fairness, because I don't buy a lot of beautiful books. I just buy books which, like physical copies, which I know I'm going to want to reread, so I don't really focus on the covers, to be very honest. And then the last question would be, what books do I need to read by the end of the year? I need to pick up False Boys by Penelope Douglas. I have it on my TBR as a very, very anticipated release of 2022, so I definitely want to pick that one up. Obviously, the books that I just mentioned about releasing further on in the year, but also the 3 STEM novellas by Ali Hazelwood. I still haven't picked them up, but I'm going to read them definitely. So those are the books that I really need to finish by the end of the year. So this has been my mid-year freakout tag. I hope you like this short version vlog style kind of situation that I just recorded. If you have any comments or remarks about any of the books that I mentioned, just leave them down below in the comments, or also DM me on Instagram. I love to know your opinions. And please subscribe to my channel, like my video, and follow me on Instagram as well. I hope to see you very, very soon. Happy reading, take care, and bye-bye.